Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Maximising Impact, a webinar proudly brought to you by Enterprise Cloud in association with Microsoft. Today, we're going to talk about consolidating systems and data for effective non-profit program delivery. My name is Sean Dale. I'm the Managing Director of Enterprise Cloud. We are a Microsoft partner who specialize in business applications, configuration, setup, and we work a lot with the non-profit industry in South Africa and around the world. Some of our clients that we've helped with various solutions, and we're proud to work in this space. It brings a lot of meaning and purpose to our team, and we love helping non-profits solve some of their biggest challenges. So the reason we're here today is we recently performed a research study with over 35 non-profits from South Africa and around Africa, and we asked them what some of their biggest challenges were. The responses were very, very interesting to us, and there were three key areas that people were finding significant challenge in. The biggest area being access to and management of fundraising. So the whole, how do we go and get fundraising? How do we manage the funding once we have it? How do we make sure that we have effective delivery of that funding? And that led into the second piece, the second most, I guess, targeted area of challenge at around 40%, where streamlining of processes, business processes in the back office, streamlining of data and systems was a key challenge area. Nearly 40% of respondents saying that that's an issue. And the last area was more related to operational matters, resourcing matters, having enough staff and volunteers and things like that to manage effective program delivery. So when we look at this research, it really does align to the things that we find when we work with nonprofit organizations around the world. And that's the purpose of today, is really to unpack this. Now, we understand that nonprofits face endless pressure in their mission to serve the needs of communities and to drive the impact that they are trying to drive. While delivering on these program objectives, there's a whole lot of things that need to happen. Raising funding, managing donors, managing internal and external resources and people, and all the while trying to drive down or keep control of costs. This is tough to do for any organization, never mind nonprofits. Even corporate organizations have a big struggle in performing all of this, but we find this a particular challenge area for nonprofits who struggle to manage resources because they are very, very limited and have limited people to do these things. It's even tougher when processes are manual, when people and delivery teams are distributed around the country or around the continent, where information is everywhere but seemingly inaccessible to the people who need it when they need it. And so budget controls are getting tighter and tighter, and reporting requirements from donors and funders are getting more and more stringent. So as a technology implementation company, our goal is to eradicate this set of problems and simplify how people work so that ultimately the nonprofit's impact is amplified. So as a result of this particular survey that we ran, this research that we ran, we chose and engaged with one particular nonprofit who had very similar challenges to what we're showing here today. And through an engagement in a consultative process with them, we discovered that we could actually help them cut their IT costs in their business application space by nearly 50%, which is a massive impact, that they can take those funds that were allocated towards systems and IT and reallocate them towards program delivery objectives with more efficient systems. So I'm going to deep dive you into this particular problem statement area, and maybe it'll resonate with you. So when we had a conversation with them, we found that they had a whole plethora of systems, from a CRM to manage opportunities with potential fundraising and funding type initiatives. They have a financial system that is controlling normal financial matters, procurement, etc. They have a separate tool for helping them to forecast their opportunity information. So how much cash is going to come in? When is it going to come in? How do we manage dedicated giving across multiple periods? How do we manage drawdowns, etc.? On the other side, financial budgeting. So now that we've got this access to funding, how are we effectively managing grants into the programs that we're offering, etc. And so, and then just all up fiscal-based budgeting. So separate tools for all of this. From a project delivery perspective, different teams in different areas, they operate in over 11 countries across Africa. And each team in each region has a different project system, whether it be Excel, Microsoft Project, Asana, whatever the case may be, lots of different systems. Keeping track of time and expenses is super important for them because that's part of how they manage and monitor program delivery back to the donor. And so timekeeping is a big challenge, and because of the number of staff that they have across all these different regions, and the cost of the software that they're running, they weren't able to actually roll out timekeeping software to everybody. And so even manual-based time capture processes on paper, which when there's floods in different areas or there's challenges from a demographic and a geographic point of view, just keeping track of where people are allocating time and how we're actually spending the donors' money across these programs, massive challenge for them. They run different collaboration systems, different systems for HR and payroll, and finally trying to bring this all together through some kind of reporting stack. So a ton of systems in place, lots of information everywhere, lots of duplication, what we call islands of information. So with every system that is implemented, there's another set of data, there's another set of things to monitor, to measure, to maintain, to look after, to support. You've got to have people internally that need to know how to use these systems, that know how to extend these systems. You potentially have suppliers that are helping you with these things. And so with each new system and with each new area, there's just this proliferation of problems where there's lots more manual work introduced and distributed processes and disparate processes. So where technology is supposed to enable and amplify, it's actually sometimes creating even more of a problem because there's a new system and now it's got to fit in. Now, we see this all the time. This is not purely a non-profit issue. This actually, the larger the business, the more complex this becomes, and we see this across the areas that we work in: higher education, in commercial enterprises, in public sector, and in non-profits. So this problem is a common problem that we face on a daily basis. And really, at the end of the day, what it drives internally is massive amounts of inefficiency, massive amount of increased cost and complexity. And so it really hampers the ability of the organization to serve its objectives. When you look at this problem statement from the position of the people that you're serving, so the donors and the stakeholders that ultimately are getting program delivery, this problem is exacerbated in their experience of your nonprofit organization. So because there's information everywhere, your ability to report, your ability to turn around effective program delivery, to allocate resources, I mean, big words, but how do you send people to the right place at the right time if you don't have the right information? How do you control procurement and spending on these projects? How do you make sure that the funding that was allocated is actually being utilized in the right way? So all of those internal problems create external experience challenges with donors and funders, and ultimately with the communities and the people that you're serving. So it's a massive issue perpetuated by technology, which, as I said before, is seemingly trying to help us, but actually is causing potentially more issues. So through discussing with them what the potentials could be, we said, guys, what if there was one way, one place that you could put all of this, one platform that could service all of these needs in a common set of data, a common set of processes, a common set of technologies that are designed to work together? With how much value could that potentially drive? And we had a great conversation with them and ultimately came up with kind of two areas. There's definitely a finance leg, and within this common data platform, we have the ability to manage finances, from general finance to procurement to managing expenses and budgeting. And then all of the operational related issues, from managing donors, keeping track of a database of them, going through the forecasting, what opportunities are going to come in when is funding going to land, how do we take that funding and allocate it to projects and programs, how do we control those projects and make sure that we have effective service delivery through them, through to keeping track of time and expenses, requisitions on those projects, etc. So what we discussed is that actually there is one platform of capability that could bring this all together. And through that consolidation of effort, we saw this massive potential for cutting down costs of these disparate systems and putting all that effort and time into one single platform that is fully integrated. Plugging in data like from the HR and payroll system and driving ultimately a common set of a single database, a single data store, a common set of security controls around that, a common set of workflows and processes, the ability to automate those processes and ultimately to drive great reporting and insight. So if we look at this, this is what we managed to achieve with them in a couple of days of workshopping. And we said, hey, there's great potential here and it's got massive potential value add. And so that's why we're here today. We're here today to talk to you and introduce you to the Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofits. And Microsoft as a key partner of ours is really has a soft spot for nonprofits. They have a team called the Tech for Social Impact. And this team works with us as partners to identify nonprofits that face these challenges that we've been speaking about today, so that we can help them to centralize data, centralize systems, simplify the IT landscape, and ultimately help you to attract, retain, and grow the right kind of donors and the right funding allocation, to take that funding allocation and to deliver effective programming, and ultimately to accelerate those mission outcomes that the reason for your existence, I guess. So I'm going to play a video for you that's just going to introduce the Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit.
Nonprofit organizations are on the front lines of our world's most pressing issues, providing critical support and often life-saving services to communities across the globe. Yet nonprofits have often faced an unmet need for technology solutions to ensure that the full power of supporters and funders, volunteers, and program staff can focus on the mission. Welcome to Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit, empowering scalable and transformative mission impact. Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit connects the trusted cloud capabilities of Microsoft to the most common nonprofit scenarios, such as constituent and program analytics, program design and delivery, volunteer management, and fundraising. Workflows and data sources from across the organization are united on a single platform to drive evidence-based decision-making. Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit unlocks the power of Microsoft 365, Azure, Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and LinkedIn, all brought together by the Nonprofit Common Data Model. Our Microsoft partner ecosystem further extends the capabilities of the platform with even more industry-specific services and solutions. Built with and for this sector, Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit provides the flexibility to adopt specific capabilities you need when you need them to ultimately accelerate mission outcomes.
So let's unpack the box a little bit. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, if you have questions, please post them in the Q&A and my team will be answering them. And it'd be great to get your feedback post this webinar. Okay, so let's unpack the box. Let's see what's inside of this. Now, the objective of mine today is not to take you through a deep dive into the functional capability. Very happy to do that in a separate webinar or a separate engagement. But the purpose today is really to overview and give you an idea of what the capability is inside of this platform. So on the first focus area, we're talking about attracting, retaining, and growing donors. And there's a whole lot of capability around managing the donors themselves. So a great single donor database where all the information is, all the key contact people, how that fits into the organization, individual donors, institutional donors, any kind of donor that you can imagine, households, etc. So we can cover a vast array of different type of fundraising, let's call them initiatives or different areas, irrespective of where you get them from. So you might have something on your website where there's a donation that can be made that can go towards a specific program or to a kind of generalized funding bucket. You can drive specific outreach and funding initiatives. You can respond to RFPs and RFQs, etc. So there's lots of different vehicles that we can help you to manage this funding process. And the system's got workflows and processes that are designed to help to speed this up and to centralize this information so that at any time you can see where are we on certain opportunities, what can we expect coming in, have we got plans for managing dedicated giving, for managing gifts that are given to us, every now and then. As I said, proper structured institutional funding and more. You can even set up memberships if you'd like, where people can commit to a certain membership level and they can provide giving on a regular basis. So there's a lot of different areas and different ways that we can help to manage this whole fundraising initiative and engagement with donors. So that's one side. The other side of the fundraising and engagement side that we see that nonprofits struggle with is the donor outreach and information distribution process. So a lot of donors might potentially give more if they were more informed by your organization, if they knew what was happening, if they knew the impact that their funding was driving in the communities that you serve. And so there's a whole lot of capability built into the platform around marketing and saying, hey, let's take messaging, let's take pictures, let's take information of the great work that we're doing in the communities, and let's disseminate this into our donor base so that we can drive more interest, that we can engage more people and hopefully reach them where they're at and pull on those strings to drive more funding. So there's a whole lot of pre-set up marketing journeys around how to manage responding to gift givers, on how to drive more focused, dedicated campaigns, and great segmenting tools that help you to put this into targeted messaging to targeted donors about specific programs and so forth. I'll actually show you a video in a few minutes of how this all plays out. Really great functionality. The next leg of the solution is around delivering effective programming, and this really is around operational controls. So managing projects and programs and how they fit into your delivery objectives. On those projects itself, managing resource allocation, whether that be internal resource or external resource from a human point of view, or it might be capital equipment that you're utilizing. So we've worked with different nonprofits. Some of them do personnel-based program delivery. Some of them do conservation-based things where we need to manage vaccines for animals. We need to manage medical equipment that goes across borders. So managing resources is not just about people, it's also about equipment, it's about vehicles, it's about stock and other things that you utilize in terms of managing program delivery. Then once you have people and volunteers working on these programs, you can track time and expenses against that. And so all the information about the project is sitting in one place. So we have a central view of what's going on with each project, where we are, how much funding and budget has been allocated and utilized, and how much we've got left in the time horizon. And really access to that information drives the final leg, which is that what impact are we driving and how do we create reporting back to our funders and donors about the impact that we're making. So there's a lot of capability inside of this platform. All of it can be customized and configured to your specific needs, to your specific business processes. So the software is designed to mold around you, not the other way around, not you molding around a piece of software. And because it's in one place, all of this information is already integrated. It's already pieced together. You don't need to capture donor information in one system, then go and take the funding that was allocated and capture it into your finance tool, then go capture it into your budget tool, then go capture it into your project tools. You capture it once and the information flows all the way through because it's in one connected data environment, one connected system. And that's what the core value proposition of the Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit, and particularly Dynamics, which is the core driving business application foundation. And the great thing is that these are the things that are just in the box. There are a multitude of areas that you can extend this out into case management, managing incidences and problems, portals for donors so that they can do self-service, all kinds of things that we can do. So there really is a depth and breadth of capability that Microsoft bring us as a partner, and we can then work with nonprofits to help steer this into their specific objectives. So let's take a look at fundraising engagement and see what the platform has to offer.
Let's look at the solution through the eyes of Alexia Taylor, the Director of Development for a nonprofit organization. Alexia manages several campaigns for the organization to raise awareness and drive fundraising. She starts her day by reviewing the Power BI campaign performance dashboard, where she can see a quick summary of campaigns, ROI over time, and other important KPIs. Additional dashboards in fundraising and engagement provide an overview of recent gifts, gifts sorted by designation, and gifts sorted by solicitor. She can also see the status of open opportunities and a timeline of gifts received for the past several months. She selects a recent major gift to view this donor's profile. In one view, Alexia can see a summary of the donor's giving history, householding relationships, recurring giving, and overall lifetime value. Having easy access to donor information eliminates the work of creating static reports and querying and piecing data together from multiple systems. She drills down to take a closer look. Here, Alexia sees donations, pledges, and future payments. Pledge commitments and recurring payments are posted automatically on a set schedule, saving Alexia and her team valuable time. She notices that this major gift is designated for maternal health, which is good news since it's one of her organization's highest priorities. From the Maternal Health Designation dashboard, Alexia can track fundraising history and open opportunities. There's one opportunity in particular she'd like an update on, so she drills into that opportunity for a closer look. She sees that this opportunity is in the solicitation stage of the fundraising process, so she reaches out to Greg Winston, who is the major gift officer assigned to this opportunity, for a status update. Alexia uses Microsoft Teams integration in Dynamics 365 to communicate, share files, and collaborate with her team in real time wherever they're working. She starts a Teams chat with Greg, who says he's planning to meet with a donor in the morning and that he'll provide Alexia with an update in time for her afternoon board meeting. Alexia navigates to the gifts area, where she can see her organization's overall fundraising performance. She expands the campaign performance view for a closer look. Using rich, interactive reporting capabilities, Alexia can get live updates on overall campaign performance. She can also drill down into individual campaigns to get detailed updates, including actual revenue versus target estimates. Alexia now has the campaign information she needs to share in tomorrow's board meeting. Let's switch to the point of view of Greg, the major gift officer, as he uses the fundraising and engagement solution to prepare for his upcoming donor meeting. Greg reviews his inbox and responds to donor inquiries. With Viva Sales and Outlook, he can leverage the power of AI to help him generate an effective reply, which he can quickly tweak and personalize. This allows him to respond to more constituents during his busy day. Viva Sales also provides inline access to information from Dynamics 365, including relevant details about this donor, such as where she works, her giving history, and any open opportunities she's associated with. He can also quickly access her full constituent record in Dynamics 365 to get a dashboard view of her donor activity. Equipped with these insights, Greg is well prepared to meet with his donor and secure his next major gift. Afterwards, Greg reviews the results of the meeting. With Viva Sales in Teams, he can see a quick recap of the meeting highlights and a summary of all the topics that were mentioned, along with a full meeting transcript for reference. He can also see an AI-generated timeline tracking meeting sentiment, which he can use to gauge his fundraising efforts. Manage everything from recurring giving programs and gift processing to opportunities and events, campaign reporting, and more, with fundraising and engagement built for Dynamics 365 Sales, part of Microsoft Cloud for nonprofit.
A great set of functionality, and I think the more we engage with nonprofits, the more we see how much what that few-minute video can actually do for a business. You know, often a lot of those activities are in different places, and there's lots of emails and lots of phone calls being made up and down to find out information, to see where things are tracking. And with a system like Dynamics sitting in the cloud for nonprofit, we really have the ability to bring a lot of people together and save a lot of time. It's very exciting stuff. So if I look at delivering effective programming, I'm going to show you just a couple of things. Again, not intended to do a deep dive, but let's have a look at what's in the box. So we have the ability to set up projects and manage those projects, whether you run a very complex project structure that spans multiple years, or whether you run more simplified projects that you want to run on a, let's call it an agile-ish kind of basis. The system can scale to meet both of those requirements. So you can plan out tasks, plan out allocations of work and how this is going to go, track all your information like your budget controls, the funding that was allocated, which donors are participating in which particular project initiatives, and so on. So a lot of information all kept in one place. The second piece of this is then obviously managing resources and people assignments against those particular projects. And here you can set up individuals as resources. You can go and allocate skills to those particular resources. So you can say, well, Isabel is focused on this particular aspect and Anthony is focused on a different aspect, and I want to schedule them into the project in different ways at different times. And again, this might seem it's a very granular or more complex than your organization, but you might need it for some projects where you want to see where people are allocated. So you can go and track and manage people's utilization, their availability. You can set up different people with different work times. So maybe somebody allocates their time for half day because they may be doing something else for the rest of the day. And so you can control effectively how people are allocated onto different projects and programs, and how much of their time is utilized. Once they have been allocated to a project, they can then go and update their time that they've spent on that. So if you've planned them to spend 20 hours in a week, and maybe they've spent a little bit more, a little bit less, all of that time that goes in, you can build up cost models per resource type, so you can get a real-time view of how that time tracking is effectively going against the project allocation and the project budgeting. So you can get a real-time view of how we're tracking in the actual spending of money and in a time sense. We can then, that's from a complex project structure. You can do this in a more ad hoc structure, just managing where people are in your business and assigning them on smaller work packets, but getting a holistic overview of where everybody is in your business, what they're busy with, what initiatives they're working on. You can do a lot of that. And the system has even got very complex AI tools that can optimize the resourcing and structure it in a way that you have a little bit more effective management of people. So there's a lot of capability inside of the project side. One of the things I like the most about the Microsoft space is that all of this information that is stored in these business applications can be quite easily shared within Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft is bringing the world of collaboration and the world of business applications together, because ultimately when we're working with each other, we're working on a project, or we're working on an initiative, or we're working on driving some kind of fundraising campaign. So we should be able to bring that information together in something like Teams, where I can chat to my colleagues, we can share files, we can see a status update of where things are on the project. So there's no more going back and forth, sending emails, trying to figure out what's happening, what is the status, where are we tracking on budget, how much of the funding allocation have we used, am I ready to pull reports? All of that is taken care of because you're bringing people together in one collaborative space. And then reporting. So from a project reporting point of view, from a fundraising point of view, Microsoft have got immense capability around reporting ability. So the ability to create dashboards that are built off of real-time data that are giving you a point-in-time view of what's happening. And there's a really exciting stuff happening inside of Microsoft's world of analytics, where they're taking artificial intelligence into this platform and they're saying, hey, you don't have to go and have people on staff who can build these complex dashboards, because building a dashboard like this takes effort, right? You've got to understand the data structures, you've got to understand where information is sitting, and then you've got to be able to pull this all together. do some data modeling, and then create these nice visuals that are easy to interpret and understand by people. What Microsoft is doing there is they're saying, hey, let's introduce artificial intelligence into this. And the artificial intelligence engines can understand your data structure much better than you can. And it actually provides a natural language query capability, where what that means is you can come to your reporting tool and say, show me how much funding allocation from XYZ donor in the US, how much is that tracking against real expenses on the project in Kenya? And within seconds, the AI will bring you back a report giving you all of that information. So the power that you now have as a standard business person who understands your operation, you can speak to the machines, so to speak, who will then go and do the hard lifting for you and bring back that information. So we're very happy to share that out. Actually, wasn't even planning on talking about it, but it's called Microsoft Fabric. You can do a quick Google and have a look. But this is just another way that, if you have your data consolidated into one place, the ability for you to work more efficiently, to get more accurate real-time insights into what's going on with your business operation, and to drive a more effective, more efficient business. That is the power of what a single platform does. So that's the summary for today. You may be sitting thinking, gee, this is great. I am very interested. I maybe want to find out more, or I want to understand how this is going to help me. Well, there's a number of things that we can do as a partner with Microsoft to come in and work with you to understand this technology. So the first thing we can do is set up a discovery call, and we can share information. You can tell us a little bit more about your business and your objectives. We can tell you a little bit more about the platform. We can take you through demos, whatever the case may be. I'm inviting you to a conversation. From that, we can go into a structured, something called a solution envisioning, where we're saying, great, let's go and unpack your challenges in more detail. Let's go and workshop that together. Let's understand these challenges and these problem areas, and let's go and co-design a potential solution. We can bring the technology side of things. You can bring your dreams and your ambitions of how you could use that technology to run a more efficient business. And we collide those into this envisioning process that really spits out at the end of it a solid business case for, this is what we could do. These are prioritized initiatives that we could follow to implement technology to solve some of these challenges. And this is the return on investment that's going to drive back to business. So that's something we can do. It can be funded by Microsoft as well, which is really, really exciting. And from that, we might be able to say, hey, well, there's a proof of concept that we'd like to follow. Maybe the fundraising engagement side of the solution is interesting to you, and you want to set up a proof of concept for that, or you want to go into a large-scale project implementation. So we can leverage Microsoft funding. Microsoft, by the way, give you great offers at reduced software costs. They give you potential funding that we can leverage to go and drive these initiatives. So there's a lot of things that Microsoft are doing in this space to help nonprofits to get access to this technology. And really, if it's exciting to you, then reach out, and we're happy to have the call. I'm going to share the deck with you following this webinar, and there's a lot of resources here that you can go look at. A case study some work that we did with the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation. And there's a whole lot of other resources here, including trials of the software, access to pricing for some of the software components, having a look at how you can do self-guided learning, watch some videos, including the ones that I've showed you today, and of course, contact information. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time today. I always love to help educate people about what's possible, and we look forward to hearing from you.